All right. Well, it is about 12:45, and still waiting on the IPO, RIVN, Rivian. I'm going to be just sitting here waiting and watching. Nothing else that I'm focusing on for trades. I've already had a good day. I'm up 20,000 in my retirement account and 34,000 in the main account. So I'm up 54,000 on the day. About 54,000. And at this point, we'll be watching the Rivian IPO. So hyped up IPOs are usually IPOs that I like to at least watch and trade if possible. You know, those are like Snapchat, Robinhood, Alibaba, Facebook, Airbnb. What are some others? DoorDash. I don't know. You know, the ones that are hyped up, Coin, that people are talking about. And Rivian is absolutely one of them. And I'm just listening on a news feed just to hear whether or not we get any more information about when we're going to IPO. So at this point, Uber, yep, that was another one. So at this point, it's just waiting and hoping that it IPOs relatively soon. We don't have to wait too long. So we'll see. Initially, we were showing 125, 120. Now it's showing 105, indicating 105. All right, so to do a little due diligence on this, so Rivian, I'm going to have to update this. So because it hasn't IPO'd yet, we'll get more info on that tomorrow. Let me go to, I've got another window here. Let's see. Yeah, see, even BAM SEC doesn't have anything for them yet. Rivian float. So I believe the float is 132 million shares. Now I believe 153 million. Thanks, Benny. 150 million. Okay, so that's not too bad. That's not it's not really a problem. I mean, you look at Tesla. Obviously, the float's very high. So I believe there's a lockout period. Can anyone confirm how long it is for insiders? It's very common that there'll be a 180-day lockout period. 180 days. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. IPOs can be very volatile. There's no question about that. So we can see big pops and then big drops. Because it's opening high, folks, and these would be funds, large funds, investment funds, and even retail traders that were able to get shares early or chose to get shares early at the IPO price would be able to sell. They wouldn't be, they're not an insider necessarily. Amazon Inc. said it's set to double down on its Rivian investment by purchasing additional shares during the IPO, according to CNBC's Phil LeBeau. It's interesting. So what'll happen is all of a sudden quotes are going to be ripping, and it'll just be trading, and I'll be looking at the price, and then at that moment I'll be looking at the candles and what was the high of the last candle. So if it opens and immediately starts ripping up and I can see the halt level and I think it's going to go into a halt, then that would be very bullish. I don't know if that's going to happen. Halt levels are at 10%. So that would be a 10 plus point move. So from 106 up to 125, 120. But of course, you never know. So if I saw it like that, I might just buy on the ask with the hotkey as it's going up. However, the risk with doing that, of course, is that sometimes they'll pop for a moment and then they'll flush hard, right? All of a sudden, you start to get that sell and the bottom falls out. So if that happens, I have to be, really cautious. That could be that first whip. And then we could be looking at a dip and a rip setup, but even then. So this is might as well say this is as good a time as any to remind folks, trading is risky. Trading IPOs is especially risky, especially when they're hyped up like this. I'm an aggressive trader. My results are not typical. You shouldn't expect that you'll achieve anything as a trader. You should actually assume that you'll lose money. And with that assumption in mind, don't trade with money you can't afford to lose, and practice in a simulator before you go live. So this would be a great type of stock to practice trading in a simulator, see whether or not you can make money. But IPOs are the Wild West. They're very, in the sense that they're so volatile, they're just so crazy. And we've seen IPOs that have been very, very strong. We've seen IPOs that have been very, very weak. Coin IPO was not the strongest. Let's see how far back I can go. Back here. This was pretty brutal on coin. Now it did squeeze before it rolled over, but it definitely rolled over hard. And it was on the day of the IPO. So let's see how far back this will let me go. It's not letting me go back far enough. That's fine. Right. That's right. So coin was a little bit different. Showing 105.51 right now. On this one, so in my main account, I have 4 times leverage. So and in my retirement account, I have cash only. So I can take 4 times as much size in my main account as I can in my retirement account. But half of what I make, roughly, not exactly half, but close, darn enough close to it, I was going to go to taxes. So I don't know. It's on the other hand, if I do have a loss, I can write off the loss against my gains. And because it's a riskier type of stock to trade in general, it might make sense to use the main account. That way, if I do catch a loss, I can write it off against gains. So maybe I'll focus on the main account. And if I do end up getting a really nice trade, then, well, pay tax on it. Yeah, I see our RNXT going up there. You could do a direct rollover into like let's say you have a long-term retirement account with I don't know, Charles Schwab or TD Ameritrade or something like that. You could do a direct rollover into an account like Lightspeed, which is really good for trading. And then when you have excess profit, you can do a direct rollover back to the other account, that type of thing. That's very common. That's what a lot of people will do. So yeah, RNXT reclaiming VWAP. This one was really choppy earlier today. So I'm not really interested in trading this at 1 in the afternoon. Has to do something pretty exciting for me to want to trade it. Well, I can write off the losses against the gains I already have this year in the main account. So that, because I already have profit. So if I take a loss, then that comes off the top. Not familiar with DCGO from 10 to 11. It's the news on Benzinga. I wasn't sure, Ray. I couldn't recall. I thought that sounded right, but I wasn't sure. If you're red on the year, then and you don't have mark-to-market accounting, I think you can write off only $3,000, but then I think you can carry the rest forward. But I'm not an accountant, so I can't say for sure. Still showing right now over 100 at 106.25. So that's the quote right there. $106.50. Showing 107. So yeah, my thought on it is kind of watch the first couple ticks, and if they're strong and it looks strong, then jumping in. But if we immediately open and we see like a 1 million share seller at 107, let's just say, if I see that, then well, that's going to be a problem. So I'll just be watching. Okay, watching. Starter. Just added right there. Now looking for 108 and 110. There's 108. Honestly, this is a really slow IPO. This is an extremely slow IPO. I sold 108.01. It's 12 million shares of volume, but very slow IPO. Usually we see a lot more volatility than that. The high was 108.89. So high was 108.89. $13 million shares of volume. So you're seeing some sell orders go through. Added right there, 107. Now the curling for the break back through the high. Watch for 108. Added right there, 109. Took it out for 6,000. New order 110. There's 200,000 shares for sale at 110. I sold at 109.86. Added back at 110. Let's see if it breaks 110, and then we get 112, 115. Nope, selling for now. Back out at 110. Ooh, bummer. So there was that big seller right there at 110. And so I was in at 110 and then got out at 110.99. Now you've got a high of 112.91. Look at the volatility though. So new high is 112.90. New order goes at 113. Added back at 112. There's 113 on the ask. Let's see if we get through 113 and 114. Added at 13, partial fill. Now looking for 114 and 115. High is 114. Sold for a $6,000 loss. Back to flat on the name. High of that candle was 113.90. Dip down there was 109. So as far as IPOs go, this one's not that exciting. This is kind of boring. I was hoping for more than this. It feels heavy. You know, it's 130 million share float, but it feels even on the IPO day. If this is how it trades on the IPO day, this is the day that's supposed to be probably the most volatile. And so far, our range is, 105.50 to 113. It's only 8 points. I really would have expected more. And the 1 minute chart's not very clean. It has that high way up there at 115. So back down here supports 105.50. That could be a dip, but it's kind of boring. So it was up 6 grand, gave it back. I added at 113.55 or whatever that was for the breakthrough. The high here, 114, stopped out on the dip at 109. So watching for a possible double bottom off of 105. That at least would be a good dip entry. 22 million shares of volume also seems a little low. So that's its first 5-minute candle, topping tail, big upper candle wick. VWAP is showing 109.28. So high there's 109.84. If it can break back over 110, watching. There's a seller stacked at 110. Added at 110. Let's see, 500 shares only. Let's see if it breaks over 110 and then curls back up to 112. So it did pop there for a second. I'm only holding 500 shares. Hit a high of 110.50 and then dipped back down. So it needs to break 110.50. So there's 110.50. Come on, girl. Sold at 11. High is 11.07. 11.10. Back to 10.60. Yeah, I was hoping for some parabolic, like exciting price action on this. Kind of a bummer. Well, that's the Rivian IPO. Don't like that red candle on the 1 minute. I don't like the topping tail there. Here it's coming into resistance, descending. If it can break over 114 and 115, then we've got something more interesting. But it should have already done it. So the high right there is 112.56. Girl, you're pacing. Go lay down. Go lay down. Out. Out. High is 114. Of this candle. So I'll take a starter there, just 1,000 shares. Let's see if it breaks through 14. And then 14.50 up to 15. High of this candle is a double top now. Yellow ascending, descending support is right here. See if it comes back up to it. So the 5-minute chart, since that candle closed pretty big, over 114 for 115, we might see a move up to 117, 118. So see how it pops right back up there. So now watch 115. If it breaks 115, then we're looking for 116, 117. It's starting to pick up a little bit here. Putting my order at 115 to add. Added there, 115. Now looking for 115.50. Look for that continuation. Over 116, next add. Then 117. So watch 116. Added right there, 116. Took some off the table going through that level, holding 800 shares. Sizing down a little bit now on the breakout. Average is 15.11. That has me back at break even. Took the rest out flat. So our new high is 1669. Nice dip, got bought up. Back over 1650. Could be a retest of 17. The 1 minute's not perfect for that unless it's just a micro pullback. So at quick long there, 500 shares for the break of 117. Little chop, sold it break even or for a small loss. High is 116.80. New order 117. Quick long there for the break of 117. Then looking for 118. Cutting it for now. 1608. Pulse breakout there. It broke, but then pulled back. So you see it pops back up, which is good, but it's hard to trust when you get these false breakouts. Nice, good job. I didn't feel comfortable taking big size on this one. Wasn't as good as I would have liked. And the volume now is declining a little bit. $17 on the ask. So a quick little trade there. Is it going to get to a point where it starts to pull away and move faster? I don't know. Quick long at 18, then look for 1825. We'll see if we start to accelerate over 1850. Added at 1845 there, 500 shares. Now looking for a move up towards 19. So see how it's moving higher here, it's curling up. So look for 1850, then 19. There's 1860. Not seeing 19 yet. There's 75, there you go. Nice. So it's starting to pull away a little bit here. High 119.41, 119.50, next level to watch. Might have resistance at 120. Quick add there at 44. There's a bid stack at 26. So now let's see if that gives us a squeeze up to 120. No, it's a bid stack, but it's thinning out. See how it thinned out like that? 100,000 share buyer. Look at that flush. 1590 low. So now you've got a 5-minute high up here at 119.45, but a pretty sharp pullback here, 113.90. I'll do a dip at 14.98. So that's a dip after that kind of hard pullback. And then we'll see if it curls on the 10-second chart back over 15. So there's back over 15, average is 14.16, but sold for small gains. So yeah, all things considered, this is a pretty slow IPO. It's not the fun, exciting IPOs that we've seen from other stocks. Got some action on it, but you know, if I hadn't given back the 6,000 on that drop right there, but once we had that kind of drop, it was like, oh, now it's hard to trust. Should have been stronger. And then you got another drop right there. That one from 119 back down to 115, 4-point flush. A little dip off the low, but nothing that exciting. It should hold this 113.90, 114 level because that was the previous breakout spot. So that's why I was dip trading off that level. Low there, 14. Nice, Dan. Good work. So up 57,000 between my two accounts today. Only small gains on RIVN, but green on it at least. So that's good. I'll take it. And that's the first 10-15 minutes of the IPO. Not super exciting right now. No more trades for me. So we'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, right around 8:30, morning show, live broadcast. And hopefully we see some good opportunities. You know, if I was feeling more aggressive, I could take a dip trade there, but what's the point? It's just not really worth it. There's not enough excitement on this one. I thought, given how hyped up it would give more than this. So I don't know, surprises me there, but that's just how it is sometimes. Sometimes the really hyped ones end up just being kind of boring. So good job for anyone that got green. If you're red, study. Tomorrow's a new day.